Welcome to Rich Talk, where we keep the conversation going.
So we go. What up, though?
Oh my God. Nothing. What up,
We back. Live and direct. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. We back. Yes, non-binary. We're back. What's up? How you doing today?
Doing well.
That's good. That's good. I'm glad to see y'all. You know, it's another good Sunday.
It is.
It is.
Yeah, always.
Y'all was talking about y'all had good weeks. I love to hear about y'all weeks.
I ain't do too much of nothing for real. Went to work, but I got 2 weeks off, so when you get into that little vacation, the week seemed good even if it wasn't. So no, but overall I ain't got no complaints. So
That's what's up.
if I ain't got nothing to complain about, it's a good week.
I feel that. I feel that.
Yeah.
I feel that. 100%. No complaints.
What was wrong with your week? Cause you
I didn't say.
but you didn't say you had a good week though.
I wouldn't say I had a bad week. I would just say I had a tumultuous week, meaning like it just was a lot going on. Like it's just, and I feel that it's just the season I'm at in my life right now, where it's just like it's just a lot going on. I don't know what season y'all at in y'all lives or how you feel when it comes to like measuring your days, if they're good or bad. But like I really do put it in perspective, like I had a good day because I can't complain because I know nothing good comes of that.
Right.
But then also I look at it in the aspect of like, am I genuinely good? Like, am I genuinely good?
Right.
And I think, and I was just talking to my mom about this recently actually, and she was like, cause I don't know, we were just talking, and then we ended up getting to a point where we were just like, okay, we gonna go to therapy. Like, you gonna go to therapy, I'm gonna go to therapy. We actually starting tomorrow. We're gonna start both looking for a therapist, and we're gonna do that journey, that experience together. And I'll share that with y'all too. Just as far as like what the experience is like from start to finish, as far as like looking for a therapist and going through that process, because I think we talk a lot about mental health on this platform and a lot about being introspective, but I think that needs to be rooted in the work, like in the actual work of furthering yourself. Like even when you are good, going the extra mile to make sure that you can be as good as possible. And that just coincides with the fact that I have a job outside of the rich family where I can have insurance so that I can do that. So I do think that we need to create a system where more people have access to therapists.
Yes.
I do think that we need to create a system where more people have access to therapists. So I think that it's unfortunate that everyone can't come along this journey as far as finding a therapist. But I think that it's important that we at least are talking about it, and so we can share that experience so that people can, learn from it and do what they want with it.
And finding black therapists.
Yes.
That's important.
That's gonna be the trick for me, like, 'cause that's all I'm looking for. And I was debating between a black woman and a black man, and I think I need to go with a black man just because it's gonna be, even though like black women are comfortable, like, even though black women are comfortable, it's just like, I think that I need a black man just because, it's just certain levels that we can align on that I feel like,
I think it's a different approach. I feel like, I'm not saying women coddle, but I feel like they're just naturally more caring. So it's more of a, like I even notice it with my son. I feel like when he wants to be comforted, he will run to his mother, but when like he knows what he's kind of gonna get from me, because it's like I understand, I will allow you to cry, allow you to express your feelings, but at the same time, I do have to get him to understand as a man that you really don't have a chance for excuses. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, our homeless rate is through the roof. Our suicidal rate is through the roof. Just as a man, not even just as a black man, as a man in law. So, like, we're not allotted the type of excuses that most people can get.
Right.
You gotta get up and get it.
Yeah.
If you ain't got no money, ain't nobody gonna feel bad for you. If you're not taking care of you can't cry about it. So you know what I'm saying? It's hard trying to find that balance. So I do understand why you want a man as your therapist, because it's more of a. Sometimes you just need to hear what you need to hear. You know what I'm saying? Versus somebody being like, "Oh, are you okay?" Like, yeah, okay, I got that. I didn't heard that. Like, yes, I know I'm not all the way okay, but I'm getting there. I need somebody to be like, "Hey, if you're not okay, if you're not gonna fix it, I can't do nothing for you."
Right.
You feel me?
Right. And then not only I can't do nothing for you, but here's some tools that I can't get myself, because I think that's part of the learning process, is understanding that you don't know everything. Yeah. And like and I think that we've been conditioned as a Black culture to find the answers. And sometimes it's not ask for help. Just find the answers. Yes. Don't ask for help. Just find the answers.
Figure
and
out.
Sometimes the answers aren't there. Sometimes the answers aren't there.
So I got a question. Do you think that's more of something we're forced to do, or do you think it's more of our, not all elders, but certain elders' reluctancy to say that they just don't know? Because I feel like, and sometimes with parents, because I've been that's kind of topic I want to touch on. It didn't come to me till we started talking, but I was kind of having a conversation with my friends the other day, and we was playing the game, and we were just kind of talking about like our childhood trauma and like how it stems from our parents. And one of my friends was just going through such a like crazy situation with like his mother growing up, and I was just like, it's crazy, and I kind of got a situation going on right now where that kind of bothered me, and I'm just like, at what point do parents realize that your child is the way that your child is because of the trauma that you couldn't get over yourself? You know what I'm saying?
Or that you created,
and that you gotta kind of, if you're not trying to move past something, you can't expect something from your child. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Naturally, I feel like as parents, we want better for our children, but it's like people ask me all the time, like, we've been planning this group trip, and I was like, I'm probably not gonna go. And I was talking to Ivan about it, and I'm like, bro, you gotta understand that, like, I'm trying to be my best self. And it's not just for me, it's for my family. Because if I'm my best self, then they're getting the best me. You know what I'm saying? And some things I gotta sacrifice. Like, I need to sacrifice certain things so I can get my mental together. So I can get over my trauma, so then I'm not placing that onto my wife or my son. You know what I'm saying? Or anything like that. So
it's layers to it. It's layers to it. And it's just the fact of what is healthiest for you. And and however you get to that most healthiest, do that. Do that. And I think that we should be compassionate and supportive of how people find their happy. I don't think that we should be judging people on how they find their happiness.
And actually, with that being said, too, I feel like that is a large part of therapy. I feel like judgment is a big part of why people choose to go or where they choose not to go. And I would like for that to be something that's like removed. Because a lot of people think if you go to therapy, you got something terribly wrong with you.
Yes, that's true.
Like you just real messed up in the head. And it's like, it don't mean that. Some people go for peace because that's how they choose to find peace. But it's also okay if people choose not to seek, counsel in that way. Maybe they seek it through music or through dance. Maybe, having a mentor or something is like a better way for them. But
and I think that in a lot of aspects, it takes all of that. It takes you having your friend support group. It takes you having your mentor. It takes you having your church. It takes the community. Like, the village doesn't stop. It takes a village to raise a child, and it doesn't stop.
And I think that's a problem. I think that's a problem. I don't know. I can't speak on all communities because I'm Black, but I think that's a big problem in the Black community. Is just that when we're children, it takes a community. Why does it stop? Why does it stop taking a community? It's like we raise our kids to be oh, it takes help. You need friends. You need you
Right.
need sportsmanship. You need to get into sports and stuff to learn how to be a teammate.
Right.
But then when they get older, it's like, oh, if you don't get it, ain't nobody gonna help you. This and that.
Right.
Well, why do y'all? Why?
And it's like
that's networking. Actually, like as a child, like
Right.
I'm supposed to be growing these bonds so that when I get older, I need
it's
them.
like they throw you into the water when it never had to be like that. It could be a smooth transition, but it's just like it's this abruptness to it, and it's like. I think it's just something that we've been conditioned as far as like the crab in the barrel mentality. Like you got to get it. Like I got to get it. You got to get it. Like
and if I got to step over you to get it,
then I will. And it's like that's not the way that it has to be.
Right.
And I think that that's what we've been talking about throughout these different seasons of the podcast, and in some of the things that we do throughout the Rich Family. It's just. Care for one another intentionally, and then let's see where that support can take us.
Right.
Just see where that support can take us. Like, because why not? Like, why not? Why? Like,
why not? What's it hurting? It's not hurting anything.
Like, why not? Like, why not?
It's a thing that people are torn between because that way of raising people creates a tear, and I don't think parents realize it.
See, I was gonna say to add to that, I was just gonna say like, remember we had that conversation like last season. We were talking about what age should you move out of your parents' home. I feel like sometimes parents have like this. I don't know. Maybe it's like a vendetta against the fact like maybe they got put out when they were 18, so it's just like, well, I had to do it, you have to do it, and it's like we supposed to be breaking generational curses. Like we can make this, like you said, a much smoother transition and do not have to be that way. Like that's more trauma. Why are we doing this?
And it's just like it's just what we're conditioned and socialized to do. Like this is what Chris was talking about, and I'm smiling because it's just like so revolutionary for us to be talking about this. Is because it's just like something that has just had the wool over our eyes and of our community, and it's just like something that's just been there and it's existed there, and no one has talked about it. Right. And the fact that we're a generation and we're talking about it, it just means that it's going to create space for it to change.
Yeah.
Like, and
because it needs to change.
Like it's gonna create space for it to change, and that's beautiful.
I mean, Shayla, you know me. So like you know how big like being a father is to me. Because it's just like one of the things that's like, bro, I just want the best for you.
Right.
Like, and I don't know right now what the best is for you.
Right.
I know the essentials you need.
Right.
I know the lessons you might need just for life.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? No matter what field you go in, what you decide to do, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I know what you need to be a person.
Right.
To be a good person, to have morals, to have standards, to have a work ethic. Those simple things, and I'm here to be. And like I even go back and forth sometimes where I have to think, where it's like I always hear parents be like, "Oh, I'm not your friend." And it's like I get it, but then at the same time it's like, why not?
Right.
Because then you're taking that comfortability away from your child. Like, oh, I can't express myself to you like a friend because okay, I can be your I try not to seem like parental figure, more of a guidance counselor. I'm here to guide you. Right. Yes, I'm your father. Yes, I'm gonna tell you what's right or wrong. Yes, I might be able to take some things away from you that I might deem unnecessary, but at the same time, you know, we kids, bro. Like when we hit a certain age, your parents wasn't watching you every day.
Right.
They wasn't watching me every day. You know what I'm saying? So I can be a guidance counselor for you. I don't want to not be your friend because then I feel like there's still boundaries in friendships.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So like, okay, understand I'm your father, but I am your friend. You can come talk to me. You can be open. I made a mistake. I did this. Or even if it's uncomfortable, you know what I'm saying? But you need to be able to have that. And I feel like growing up, it was, oh, I ain't your friend. You ain't going to talk to me like you talk to... Okay, that's understandable. Let me know that. But still, don't take that comfortability away.
The relationship building. Yeah. Like, it's relationship building that can start at the home. Like, it's like... I mean, yes, we have it with our siblings. If you have siblings, only child, you don't necessarily have it. But like, just as far we've talked about this time and time again. But as far as we need to be teaching more than just book work. We need to be teaching soft skills. We need to be teaching relationship building. We need to be teaching interpersonal skills. And if we're not doing that, then we're falling short in how we're building our communities. Like, we're falling short in how we're setting the example. We're not setting a full example. If all we're saying is the only thing that matters is math, English, science, and social studies.
Yeah.
Like, if that's all we're saying matters, then we're not setting a clear example.
One art,
like
one exercise.
Then we're not setting a clear example of what is going to be reality.
You know, it's kind of dope. Like, I was watching the B movie. You remember the animated movie? I ain't watched it in a while. And it was that one scene where like he went up to the line to pick the job he wanted. Mm-hmm. And like it kind of intrigued me because I was like, why do we make it seem like everybody has to be the same? Right. And when they're not the same, they're outcasted. Mm-hmm. Yep. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm 6'4", I'm black, I love hip hop, I play basketball, but I love anime. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like I feel like we try to box people in to fit the narrative we want to have them. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Versus letting somebody express themselves. Like if kids go to school and you put them all in the math class, and out of 50 kids, 10 of them kids are excellent at math, let them stay in math. Right. You feel me? If you go to the art class and one kid just pick up the paintbrush and just know what he's doing, let them stick to art. Because nothing is less important than the other. Right. You know what I'm saying? Anybody can appreciate anything if you're willing to. Yeah. So like, you know what I'm saying? This kid might paint a painting that might change somebody's life. Right. You feel me? True. So it's just,
Truth. I think I love that. And it's just like really allowing people to create their own flow. Yes. Like there is a flow that we go through, like we're just a natural progression. And I think that too often we're told to steer away from our natural flow and like go into this, like you said, this structure of what they want us to be, what society has already deemed us to be before we even are allowed to determine who we want to be. And if we are able to lean into our own flow, I think that there'll be a lot less chaos.
You know,
there'll be a lot less chaos.
Constructive imagination. I feel like it should go from, because like when you're a kid, that's the purity in it. Yeah. That's the purity in children, is that they're just so imaginative. Yeah. Like they're just everything is just everything. You know, whatever I want it to be. That's why kids are so truthful, because they just live in themselves. You feel me? So I feel like at a certain point, yes, we do understand that reality does exist. You can't absolve yourself of reality. Exactly. You feel me? But at some point, instead of robbing kids of their imagination, it should become constructive imagination. Yeah, where you're using how your imagination works, be constructive in it. Let it have some type of purpose for your life and some type of fulfillment. And if you can make ends meet off of it, and if you can make money off it, that's okay. Do it. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like instead of robbing people in their imagination, it's a lot of stuff
supporting their imagination,
supporting imagination.
And I think that a lot of good will come from that, because people are skilled in a lot of things that they hide, and they hide it because society has told them that it's unworthy.
Yeah, like even somebody that's a class clown, like put them into acting. Like, you know, maybe put them into somewhere where they can use that energy. Yeah. Like, they may be disruptive to you, but in a theater class, they may be very beneficial. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That energy may be.
Because you already know how I used to be in school, and it's like
people don't get it.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like that's because school's not set up for people to understand people. It's a cesspool of a bunch of kids who just understood to some extent where their trauma might stem from, why their parents might be split up, why this person might be like that, and then you just throwing everybody being like, all right, y'all need to make it work. This person come from a whole different world than this person, and then you wondering why they can't get along with this person, or they can't do the same math problem or read at the same level. They might be from
they were socialized differently. They're socialized differently, and there's nothing at the school that's creating the balance. There's nothing standing in the balance between those. And I feel like what we're some of the things that we're throwing out today is just allowing for the person to be what stands in the balance and evens the playing field. Allow for them to set the tone for what's going to make them different and what's going to make them exceptional. Instead of them trying to define what makes me exceptional. And that's you don't determine what makes me exceptional. You don't determine what makes him exceptional. he does.
And that's why I've been.
And you could never.
Have you been seeing what Kyrie's been doing? Have you been seeing what Kyrie's been doing?
Yeah.
Like what he's taking a day.
Yeah.
And at first, I had to step out of being such a big basketball fan. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, you know what? I love what you're doing. Mm-hmm. Because you choosing yourself. Mm-hmm. And you saying, okay, this is my profession. Yes, I have a lot of eyes watching me. But that don't mean I can't still be true to who I am. Mm-hmm. And I love it. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, he had said something. I think they had asked him, it was an interview after the game. They said something about perception. Mm-hmm. And he was like, I don't understand why you people believe that I should live based off of your perception of me. Mm-hmm. It's your perception of me. That's not how I see myself. Right. That's not how I live my everyday life. So why would I live it up to your standards? Right. You are not me.
Right.
You lucky I ain't called you broke, because you're really not me. You feel me?
But the thing is, you'll always be looking for validation if you're living up to someone's standard. And it's just like the reason why so many people end up feeling unfulfilled is because their goals weren't defined by their own standards. They were defined by society standards. So you're unfulfilled because you were never striving towards something that you actually wanted. Like, and it's unfortunate, but it's what you've been socialized to believe. And that starts at the home, it starts in community, it starts in schools, it starts wherever we can touch people. It starts with the rich family. We've been discussing a lot of topics that we have articles published in Rich Mag Digital. So make sure you go check that out. There's an article that says, this title, "You Have No Say in My Identity," which is really good. And we didn't discuss what has been on Rich News this week. We had an article published by Antonio Cooper, who talks a lot about different things, art, music, culture. But this week he published an article on food deserts, and he talked about Detroit some, and he just talked about black communities on how we have been excluded from healthy food options, and we've been excluded from communities that support our well-being. And it's a systematic thing, it's a systemic thing, and something definitely needs to change in black communities so that we have more healthy food options and so that we are prioritized when it comes to our health, because they all tie together. Like, they all tie together. For one, mental health, because we don't have the resources and because it's not talked about in our communities, we don't do it. Like, we use what we know best, and
the food we consuming not making it no better.
And the food we're consuming is not making it no better. And we do what we know best, and we do what we have. And we don't have the food options. We don't have the resources. So it's just like, it's not that we're not helping ourselves because we don't want to. It's because the system is set up for us not to be able to. And we have to change the system.
No, that is true.
And a lot of the things we're talking about, they're not just momentary things. They're not just, okay, this is what we're feeling today.
No,
these,
a long-term
these are generational things. Like, these are systemic things. Like, so when we say Rich Talk is where we keep the conversations going, like, we're not starting no brand new conversations. Like, these conversations have been talked about before, but we're talking about them deeper, and we're giving them new light, and we're giving them new perspective, and hopefully some new things can come about with these new conversations that we're having.
I think you kind of touched on something I was watching last night. I happened to been scrolling through Instagram, and I saw Royce the 5'9's page, and he was talking about how he was talking about addiction, and he was mainly talking about addiction, but the kind of things he was touching on was just kind of like where addiction almost stems from, and how you can't understand it if you really, one, haven't been through it, or if you're not trying to really understand it. You know what I'm saying? And he was just saying how, like, it's a programming that we have to realize that we're in, and if we don't take ourselves out of the programming, we're going to be stuck in it. He was like, we'll know somebody's unhealthy. They'll eat bad. They'll have diabetes. They'll be drinking and all this, and then they'll die. And then we'll be at the funeral smoking and drinking the same vices that killed this person.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
it's like we have to stop being so counterproductive.
Right.
It has to stop being like, as much as we can sit here and talk, if we don't start putting some action behind these things, it's never going to matter.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying? So I think we
and that's where
appreciate
we
you, bro.
come in. That's where we come in, and that's all this company is about. That's all the Rich Family Brands are about, is doing the full circle of work. So we're informing people with Rich Mag Digital, and then we're getting out into the community where Rich reaches out, and we're having the conversations where Rich talk. So it's just, we need people to participate. We need people to participate, and we need people to do their part in whatever way that looks to them. We have some great things coming where we're going to try to showcase how your unique experience and your unique skill set is all you need in order to create an equitable future in your lens, like in your area of control. Like, it's not about changing the entire world just through your day-to-day. It's about changing your world. Like, that's where it starts.
Yeah.
Like, if everybody was focused on changing their specific area of control, then we wouldn't be so, I don't even know, like, we wouldn't be so far gone. Like, we wouldn't be so far gone. Like, if everybody was focused on what they could control, like, instead of worrying about what other people control, focus on what you can control. Like,
it's a holier than thou thing. I think the biggest thing I feel like we need to learn how to do is take criticism. All criticism isn't bad criticism. I feel like black people in general have a problem with just taking criticism because they feel like can't nobody judge them. Nigga, you judge people. So like, you know what I'm saying? People be like, who are you to say this? Who are you to say
I just
anything?
say let it be constructive.
Constructive.
Like,
No,
don't
I
let it
agree.
be something tearing somebody down, because
But people have to stop being so judgmental and be more constructive. And like, I'll even notice myself, like, as of late, when I'm on Twitter, when I see a touchy topic, I jump right in it, because you know I love the fire.
Right,
you know what I'm saying?
right.
But it's like, I always jump into it with the mindset of I understand both sides of the perspectives, or I've at least tried to understand both sides of the perspective.
Yeah.
So like, I said something. You know, we spoken about Kevin Samuels before, and they was talking about how he was on Joe Budden podcast, and they was like, "Oh, this is a bunch of 40-plus-year-old men sitting here telling women what they should do," and I'm like, I'm not gonna discredit your gripe with the conversation. I can understand where you're coming from, but I'm like, instead of looking for what's bad, try to take the constructive out of the conversation. It's a 2 hour long conversation. Everything's not going to be perfect. They're having a conversation amongst men. There's no women in the room, so there's nobody to kind of like, you know, combat
balance
them or balance it out. So you got to take what you get from it. But I'm like, at the same time, you got to understand that what the man is trying to say is that just because I am saying things about women doesn't mean that you have to take them in a negative connotation. This is just our perspective as men.
Right.
You have to take that. When women be like, he ain't got enough money, he ain't tall enough, he don't do this, he don't do that. Men don't sit here and be be super outraged. We suck it up and we keep chucking. You know? But the majority. But I think that's more of a recent thing. That's the newer thing. That hasn't been going on for 20, 30 years. Most men have been sitting there and taking it, and we have to suck it up and keep it moving. We don't have the ability to sit there and sulk in it.
And the thing is, just realizing this isn't the end all be all.
It's not the end all be all.
It's
the spark of conversation.
And even consume what you want. Like, if this conversation is not suiting you, then why are you there?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
unless you're there to genuinely get a perspective, you know, get an idea of the other, you know, side's perspective. But to sit there and like bash them and have this big old Twitter war, like.
Right, you control your space. We literally were just talking about that. You control your space. You control. I mean, like once you go into the public, like you have there's only so much you can control what happens. But like when you are in your personal space, like you have an ability to censor what you see.
Exactly.
And like, utilize that. You were just talking about something before we got on for the podcast. You were talking about how you had a good week and you were at peace. Like, and like, that's because you control your world. Like, you control your world. And it's just like, you only have to entertain what you want to entertain to a degree. To a degree. There is some things that are like inevitable. They're inevitable.
You're on the opposite side of the fence. Cool. If me and you have an argument and you on the opposite side of the fence, I know one thing for sure. With me and you, you're going to at least hear my argument out before you like, nah, that's just not right. Okay, you being counterproductive at this point, because even if everything I'm not saying is 100% on point, you can dissect it and take something out of it and be like, oh, okay, I get what you're saying. Right. So, all right, that's not what we looking for, but whoop-de-whoop, if you said this, if you said that, then maybe we get a better understanding of this. And I think that's the biggest thing people are missing. It's a podcast. It's supposed to open up conversation, but not for y'all to jump in and be combative and start name-calling and bashing people and, he this and he that.
That is very counterproductive.
This is a perfect way to explain our main story point throughout the Rich family, and that is enrichment needs perspective. It needs perspective. Like, it needs a diverse array of perspectives coming to the table. Like, it's essential, and like that's why we do the work that we do, because without having these voices in the conversation, so much value is missed. So much value is missed. And if that's not value that you need added to your conversation, don't listen to it. But if you know, like, I mean, if you're here, if you showed up, like you said originally, if you showed up to the conversation, try to get the value of it that you can. Like, and if there's no value in it, then either leave. But like, at the end of the day,
find a way to add it, but do it constructively.
Constructively.
It's okay to, I think it's okay to take in things that you don't agree. You know, we might not always have the same perspective or agree on topics, but
everybody wants to be a contrarian.
Everybody
wants to just say the opposite of it.
Bro,
it's okay. You ain't gotta agree, but you don't gotta be in here being counterproductive. Don't be a contrarian, bro. Just to be one, bro. Don't be the devil's advocate.
I just want to play devil's advocate.
Just to be it, bro. Like, do it.
That doesn't help anyone.
That's not helping anything. No. You know what I'm saying? Pose some questions. Ask why they think that way. And then give your statement. Everything ain't gotta be, oh, you like this because of this. You don't know him.
And even if you are offended, express why you're offended.
Because you might be teaching them something.
Express why you're offended if you feel comfortable doing that. If you don't, then leave, like, protect your peace. But if you feel like charged, if you feel able, if you feel like comfortable to give your opinion, and it's like one that's just, my feelings is hurt because of this. Like, but just understand that everybody is not going to support you. Like, everyone is not going to support you. So you need to make sure that when you step out and you let people know that you're offended, that you understand that it might not necessarily be a safe space. And you need to have your safe spaces. Like, you need to have your safe spaces to express yourself. And don't go looking for a safe space to be a space that you don't know. Like, as far as like a conversation, you're going on this platform and this conversation with these men, and you just expecting this to be a safe space for you.
Like, come on, sis. Like, no, they don't
we not laughing at y'all pain. We're not laughing at y'all pain.
You know what
it is? That is dumb.
No,
but you know what it is?
We not, because at the end of the day, like, but go ahead, please.
I think people feel like they should be absolved of criticism.
No,
and it's like
why would you walk into their space and then expect them to be like,
oh no, the women are in the room.
It's like you're gonna get
out of pocket.
No, but it's bro, because I had to tell people. Like, literally, I was on Twitter. I'm like, bro, why everybody with this holier than thou? I was like, we judge people, we rate people. It's a societal norm. Like, bro, if we get on here, I don't care if it's us three right now. We was upstairs talking, and I'm like, bro, Holly Berry on a scale of 1 through 10. Every one of us is going to judge her and be like, what we think. Her, you, and me. It's a normal thing. This is what we do. So I feel like for you to be like, oh, who is a man to say what women should? Okay, we're not telling you what you have to do. We're just telling you what to be realistic about. Just like if a dude walk up to you and you say you like 6 foot plus men, and he 5'8", and you like, I don't like short guys. He can't do nothing about it. He gotta take it to the chin, and that's just a fact. So just be constructive. I don't understand. I don't know. I really don't
read the room. Read the room.
That's what it is. Read the room. That's what I was getting at with that. It's like
read the room.
It's not everything ain't for everybody, bro.
Read the room.
And
we're not laughing at y'all pain, but read the room.
I'm with her.
Like,
we laughing.
They're laughing.
If you choose to be in your pain on purpose and you know better, I'm laughing at you. Because until you get it better, we gon' chuckle. And I promise you, we gon' chuckle for sure. We gon' chuckle for sure. No, we just playing.
You are loved. Your feelings are valid. And yes, there is a community for you that will support you and help you get through whatever you need to get through.
But
it's not where you're always searching for it. Sometimes it's where you're not looking.
So what do y'all think about this? Because I agree with you, but I feel like sometimes that's counterproductive because I feel like people run to communities where they can be coddled.
I don't do coddling.
I know, that's why I don't. So why is you coddling?
Go to a safe space where you feel comfortable to express yourself. Not necessarily meaning that everybody in that space is going to agree with you. Like, I go to my best friend sometimes because I know that's my safe space, but she doesn't always say, "Oh, you're right for being upset" or whatever.
Right.
Sometimes she be like, "No, you was wrong, but let me talk to you about it."
Right, and that's what I'm saying. I'm saying don't be tone deaf. Like, don't be tone deaf, meaning, like, don't go into a room and be like, okay, this is where I'm going to vent and I'm going to just, this is my come to Jesus moment. And no one there is in support of your values.
Yeah.
No one there is going to validate your feelings.
Especially if they talking about the opposite.
So all I'm saying is find a community that aligns with your value system of where you're headed and where you believe. Like know how to get you where you're going.
Yeah.
Like don't go somewhere that is not geared towards getting you where you're trying to go. Yeah. If you're not trying to be with a man who thinks like this, why are you listening to a man who thinks like this?
Because they want to have something to say.
It's just
So what do y'all think about? All right. So my question is, if something strikes a nerve, does that mean you have something to talk about?
If something strikes a nerve, what do you mean?
Like, okay, so like this. Based off this conversation, I'm talking about how like some people saw this video and it struck a nerve and they just felt the need to, you this and that, instead of realize like, okay, I will say for me, if something strikes a nerve for me, I think my first step or something I try to do, because I don't want to make it seem like I just know what I'm doing all the time, is to be like, okay, why is it striking a nerve for me? You get what I'm saying? Because it's like, okay, it struck a nerve for a reason. Okay. So if it struck a nerve, there's something I need to learn from this situation. Because obviously I'm not aware enough all the way, or I might be ignorant to some things to handle the conversation that is being had. You get what I'm saying? I feel like
everybody don't do that.
I'm learning that. I feel like into the therapy thing. That's something that I was starting to learn from therapy. If something struck a nerve for me, I'm trying to learn how to, before I react, because I'm very reactive, is I'm learning to process, like, what is the root? What am I really upset about? Am I mad about what they said, or is it, sometimes it's like, it's the person that sent the message. It's like, I'm a little, like, I got some ill feelings towards you personally. If it would have came from somebody else, I would have been fine with it, but because it came from you, you know what I mean? So I'm learning how to do that. That's important, y'all.
Yeah, that's very important. And one of my mentors, she told me, she said, everyone is not introspective. And that really stuck with me. It really stuck with me because I'm thinking like, everybody does this. Everyone looks inside themselves and saying, what is going on with me so that I can change it and where I can adapt and do these things. I thought everyone did that. And she said, everyone is not introspective. Everyone is not introspective.
It's simpler than that. Everybody is not you.
Everyone is not you, but everyone is not like everyone is not you, but everyone is not introspective, meaning like
they don't have these conversations. They don't
process,
think like
just
this.
like how you just asked, when something strikes a nerve with you, do you like look inside and be like, where do I fit into this equation? Like people don't think about that, and it's been something that I've been doing recently, as of late, and it's just like, but the thing is that I've been learning with that is like the harder way. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what's the song Harder Way? What song, who is that by? Like, but like he took the harder way, like, and literally it's the harder way because I don't think it's Kevin Gates. I think it's one of the new school kids.
No. I think it's not one of the new school kids. It's probably somebody.
I'm gonna look at it.
It's probably somebody decent, but don't be like new school kids like Young Boy, Kodak, like people that really doing it. Like, don't do that. I mean, I'm just playing. He's of the newer generation.
Yeah. I can't believe, I got an big uncle. Like, cause he's not really out here.
No, I feel you.
Like, but yeah.
No, I agree.
Yeah,
I think that's something that definitely needs to be worked on. It's not easy, and I feel like that's a whole conversation in of itself. Stop wanting everything to be easy. It's not going to come easy. Us having these conversations and moving forward as a people, I feel like the people sitting at this table understand that it's not easy.
It's not.
Shayla knows me, and I'm everybody therapist. And I got my own problems. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? Our friend Divine, you know, she got her own problems, but she still is a therapist. You feel me? And I feel like it's not necessarily the fact that I don't assess and deal with my problems, but it's like I have such a purpose for empathy that I just try to understand everybody's problem. And when I understand your problems better, I understand you better. So I can deal with certain, like, my wife, for example. I understand who she is. I understand what she's been through, or try my best to understand, so then I know how better to deal with you. Because when you act a certain way, instead of me being reactive because of things I've been through, I'm like, alright, well, you've been through this. So maybe this is why you acting like this. You're not doing this just to purposely hurt me. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, I feel like
if you are able, being introspective creates a better quality of living.
It does.
It creates a better quality of living. If you're able to be introspective, it creates a better quality of living. And you are able to create better relationships. You're able to connect better with people around you. When you're introspective, it just creates a better quality of living. I don't know any other way to describe it or explain it, but it's like, it's not just helpful to the people around you, it's helpful to yourself most of all. And it's helpful for you finding that fulfillment that we were talking about earlier in this episode. You don't want to be one of those people who are going through life
with uncontrolled emotions. And then trying to align with society's standards for you. Like, define yourself for yourself. Learn yourself for yourself, and then that way you'll be more in tune with your emotions, and you'll be more in tune with who you were created to be versus who society is trying to create you to be, because that's not what you want to do, and that's not what the Rich Family is here to help you become. Like, we want to make the communities first see themselves for themselves, and then become their best selves. I want to make the transition if I can.
Yeah.
Cause, I want us to. I feel like a big part of the Black community that would help with everything is us doing better with each other, and that's the opposite sex. So, I want to. I feel like me and Shayla, we gonna talk. That's what we do. So, I want to ask you, in your honest perspective, what do you feel like Black men, no, I'm not trying to exclude all y'all other men, but we Black, so we gonna talk about Black people. This is what we know. I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? I'm just gonna be honest with you. It's not to discriminate, it's just what I know. So, what do you feel like we can do better to coexist with y'all? Because I don't want to say understand, because I feel like that's always going to be something that's just kind of up in the air. One, you a woman, and two, you got your own set of rules and your own life and your own trials. You're not the same as every woman.
Right. So I can't speak for everyone.
But what do you feel like something that, even in the general terms, because even if you haven't lived it, some things you witnessed, or what could we do better to better coexist with y'all?
One thing that I'm very big on, that I always tell men that I feel like they could do better, I just think a lot of women really crave like an emotional understanding. And I think that's one thing that men, like, we really drop the ball like on teaching men, like as children, and like growing up, how to manage their emotions, how to understand fully emotions. Because that's one thing people don't understand. They think, being emotional is like a weak thing. But really understanding your emotions and learning how to control them and what they mean, that's a really big thing. And I think if men were able to emotionally understand women better, I think we would coexist a little better.
So what would you say if I told you that men have tried, and 9 times, I'm not going to put a number on it. But what if I told you that men have tried and that they were met with backlash, or it was used against them in some type of argument?
I would challenge that and ask, like, what do you mean by try? Because I feel like in order to be able to emotionally understand, you have to have done like the work to undo or to like understand the trauma that you subconsciously don't think about as a man in everyday life. Because you know what I'm saying, it's something that you've been raised, it's something that's ingrained in you, that like, I'm supposed to be this way, I'm supposed to be more masculine, or whatever that looks like. You know what I'm saying? That's something that literally is a part of you. Just like for women, us being nurturing or more caring, and the motherly role is ingrained in us. You know what I'm saying? So I would have to challenge that and say, did that man really do the work, or did he just feel like, oh, I understand you?
Okay, so I guess the question, I'm posing the same question. I would just say that, like, okay, for example, like, so I'm saying everybody does it differently. Right. So, like, with my wife, I'm a communicator, she's not. So one thing I've had to learn to do is give her the space to communicate. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes I'm not always on par when she's trying to do what you know what I'm saying, because it might be a little foreign to me, and I don't know exactly what it looks like, because she doesn't know exactly what it looks like. So I feel like sometimes as a man, when we do express ourselves, we're deemed feminine, or we're deemed that, oh, you're too sensitive, you're too soft, it's a turn off, or it's like we'll tell you something deep and personal, and then when we're arguing, it's that's why you know what I'm saying? And then I feel like, and I think the problem in dating in general is the fact that everybody's dragging baggage. Yeah, rather assessing the baggage on both sides. Assessing the baggage and be like, all right, I don't need to take this with me. I don't need to keep this. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like with women,
it could be the same.
Yeah, it's the same way. So do you think men need to... Okay, I'll tell you what I think men need to do, and then I'll ask you. I think men need to do a better job of being more selective. Okay. And stop being as accessible as we make ourselves on this old conquer the world thing. Like, okay, bro, you know what I'm saying? But I feel like at the same time, like we had the conversation before on the last season, women do set the standard as to what men need to do to present themselves to y'all. So I feel like it's some type of a conflict, because then it's like, okay, I'm told to shield my emotions, but then I'm told to, okay, I don't really want you to be emotional. I need you to go get this money and get that. Right. But then when I'm going to getting the money and getting everything, it's like, oh, you're not emotional enough. Exactly. And then when I mean, so it's like, I feel like as a man, I feel like sometimes it's a tug of war with ourselves, because we trying to, we walking on glass. Yeah. It's like we trying to, you know what I'm saying? We walking on eggshells, that's what it is, or thin ice, and we just trying to figure out what's the best way to coexist with y'all without being too much of anything. Right. I feel like sometimes for us it's hard to find that balance, and just trying to be like, I want to be this for you, but then I also want to do that, and I want to do this, and I just want to be It's hard for us to be well-rounded. If you get what I'm saying?
I feel like one thing you said was really big or whatever. It's like you said, men need to be more selective, and I agree. I think on both ends we need to be more selective. I think a lot of times we're choosing people who are only 50%, who haven't done the work, who are not to the space of thinking introspectively. That's the word, right? And you know what I'm saying? Like they're not there in that space. Right. So it's just like you're trying to make a piece of a puzzle fit that doesn't fit.
Right.
And I think that is why, like, some men, or like, let's say it is a point in a man's life where he's dated other women, he met a girl, he wants to really try to do things better, but she's not in a space where she understands and can wrap her mind around it. Right. I think we need to spend more time dating on both sides. I think men and women need to just spend more time dating when we're younger, seeing what we like, seeing what we don't like, getting those experiences so that we can get to a space where we can make more informed decisions on who we want to date and who we want to be with, because I think that's one of the biggest issues. Like, I heard one time someone was saying, and this is just like an example because men and women do it, but the woman was saying, like, a man will say he wants a wife, somebody to cook, someone to stay home, clean, but then you go and the type of girl you date is like, a girl who love to be in a club, and that's not to say you can't be both of those things, but it's just like, what are you chasing? Right. What are you trying to really get? Same thing with women. They say, oh, I want a man that's loyal. I want him to stay home. I want him to be a family man. But then you're chasing a certain type of man that doesn't have those type of morals and standards. Yeah. So I think, like, we got to really start understanding what is it that you really want to date. And are you there? You can't say you want a man or a woman that has all of these things and have their stuff together, but then you don't have those things, because now they are at 100% and you're at 75. Right. Now you got to do a lot of catching up.
These topics we're talking about, a lot of them are intertwining with one another, because at the end of the day, like you said, that's about being introspective, and it's about knowing yourself, and it's about knowing what you want and what you need, and like, these are things that we continue to harp throughout these different episodes. Is like, you have to know yourself, you have to know what you want, and you have to know how you go about getting that. Like, and at the end of the day, if you only know part of it, then you're not done. Like, you can't just be in this relationship thinking that you only know part of it, like, and thinking that it's just going to magically come together. It's not going to magically come together. And if you are the person in your relationship thinking that it's going to magically come together, then you're the person that's holding your relationship back. Because there's someone on the other side of that that's probably pulling, trying to get you to come with them, and you're just like, no, it's going to just work itself out. And it's not. You have to do the work. You have to do the work. And maybe y'all both in that relationship just not doing the work, like just saying y'all want something and not really caring about what really comes together.
That's why it's toxic. That's why it's not fitting.
Y'all perfect. Y'all in Miami fighting, pulling each other off the car and stuff like that, and like, going back home making up, like, it's all good. Like, that's what you all do. Like, that's for you. Hopefully you didn't bring no kids into that situation, but most of the time y'all do be bringing kids into that situation, so that's even more unfortunate. But at the end of the day, like, if you plan on being a healthy person and you plan on really being invested in knowing women better, knowing men better, knowing yourself better, then you have to do the work. Like, you have to do the work. It's not going to just come to you. And when you're doing the work,
it comes easy, bro.
It doesn't come easy. I won't even say it comes easy. I think it's still hard. It's hard.
I think people make it hard.
Yeah, people make it hard.
But I think when doing it, you get what I'm saying.
I get what you're saying, because what you want comes easy.
Yeah.
What you want comes easy. Like, what you want comes easy because you did the work.
But the work in between is hard.
Very hard.
And it's hard. It's very hard.
It's
but
easy to know what you want.
It's easy to know what you want.
It's hard to get what you want.
It's hard to get what you want.
It's hard to get what you want.
It's hard. I mean, it's easy to know what you want. It's hard to get what you want. Yeah. Like, but at the end of the day, like, this is why you need community. This is why companies like the Rich Family, Rich Mac Digital, these platforms like Rich Talk, like, this is why we're here, so we can support one another along this journey. Like, because it's not no easy road. It's not an easy road. And even if you feel like, okay, maybe this was a good day, how could you have a better day? How could you have a better week? How could you have a better month? How could your family be better? How could you be better? Like, because if we fill in those gaps, like, it's going to stop allowing us to fall back. It's going to stop allowing us to fall down, because at the end of the day, we've built an infrastructure that's solid.
Yep.
Like, it's solid. And right now, we have gaps that we have to fill in.
All right. So, do you have any questions?
No, I actually don't. I didn't come with questions today. Let me try to think. Let me think of one.
I'm about to say, I know you got something in the tuck.
I don't.
No, because she good right now. She happy. So,
what can I say? Like, I'm good.
when
I really don't have nothing bad to say. Like,
that's good. That's perfect.
That's
I don't know. I mean, I do like to hear men's perspective. So, I mean, I do think that was a good question. And, I mean, we could talk more about that, or the things you feel like women need to do better to understand men, because that's something that I really that's something that I am struggling with right now. Like, me and the guy that I'm dating, I do feel like we think differently, but I don't necessarily think that he thinks wrong. You know what I'm saying? This is where I'm starting to get a little bit more mature. Yeah. I am starting to understand that he needs something from me that I have not quite, my light bulb hasn't fully came on yet to say that's what it is, and I'm learning that.
So what you doing right now, what you learning, is I feel like, and I'm not okay, I always got to put a disclaimer out there, because like, women, when they attack, they attack. So, you know what I'm saying? So, I think women have to do better at taking criticism.
I agree.
I feel like when they feel like men say things to them, it's like they feel like we attacking their soul.
I do.
We attacking your character. My dude, everything, like, it's okay even with my son with an example, because right now, he doesn't know how to gauge his feelings. You feel me? He's 1 year old. He don't know how to gauge them.
Right.
So like when he fall, or he like, if I say no, you can't have that. I gotta do all that extra, and I'm just like, I take him to the mirror. Look at yourself. Is this how you should be acting? Is this how you should be feeling over something so small and minute in this one situation? You feel me? Like, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like sometimes women, y'all build up the anger so much that y'all can't have a conversation. And it's like, okay, you gotta even like, okay, let's get deep into it. Let's get into it.
Because they already have made up in their mind
that I want to be mad and I'm going to be right instead of.
And this is what it is. They already have in their mind that this is why this situation is the way that it is.
Instead of
without
understanding,
coming to the table with an open mind. I mean, and I think everybody can do that in situations. Not saying it's just women,
that's a
but
fact.
when women.
When y'all make up your mind,
in the relationships, I'm speaking on the relationships that I've been in with women.
When
like,
make up your mind,
it is just when you have your. I hate generalizing sex, because like at the end of the day, this can be anybody.
That's why I give a disclaimer.
Because it's me too. I'm literally thinking right, and it's just.
But I will say,
when you have it in your mind that no matter what I say, it's not going to change. And it's not going to change. And it's just like, it could have gone so much smoother if you would have just came to the table open-minded.
Okay, let me say this.
Open-minded.
Let me say this. I will say men are less likely to critique women because we feel like y'all can't handle it the same way we will.
I agree.
I feel like men can critique men, and you know, even if I don't like Shayla could say something tomorrow, and I'll be like, I don't like what I hear, but he know for a fact I'm gonna take that shit to the chin, bro. I can't be mad about it.
Right.
I feel like
we've talked about this before.
Yeah. And I feel like with women, I feel like y'all are scared of not even criticism, but scared of being in the wrong. It's like
I'm like trying to.
It's like
I think it's accountability. Like
accountability. It's like I don't want to be accountable for being wrong.
No, because then it means that I have to do work as well, and it's not just I can shift the work onto someone else. It requires me to do work as well, and I think that comes in all relationships. It's just, am I going to do my part of the work?
Yes.
And
I feel like
either you are or you aren't.
And I feel like as time is moving forward and we're getting older and we're coming to a newer generation, I feel like the disconnect is that men are starting to want more from women, and now women are kind of like, oh, y'all don't. Who are y'all to want more? If you get what I'm saying, it's kind of like, who are you to want more? Who are you to tell us what we should, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, y'all have that right. But at the same time, I feel like the one thing women aren't doing is listening to what we're actually saying. It's like, okay, everything ain't gonna be perfect. You feel me? Everything ain't gonna be perfect. Everybody not gonna say the right thing. You feel me? Everybody's not me. You know? But you know what I'm saying? But like I say that because I try to be open. You feel me? Like that's why I always try to throw out a disclaimer because I don't want to feel like everybody grouped into one. I feel like when men tell women what we want, I'm not gonna say y'all disregard it, but it's almost okay.
I do,
and I feel like
don't think I think for us we think it too complex about it. It's like we don't take it for face value. It's like he said this is what he wants. I really think that we think deeper into it like that. He don't know really what he want. He don't want that watch. He want a whole shebang. And it's like, girl, he wanted a watch and to sit at home and lay up under you. Like,
and you know what I'm saying? And I feel like with women, when y'all want us to just damn, no, you good. We just hit it. Y'all, I feel like y'all think that we think like y'all.
Exactly.
And sometimes we think that y'all think like us. But I think for the most part, I feel like, but with men, I feel like we're more likely to say, you know, hey, this is it. Like I ain't all the glamour, glitz, and all that. This is it. This is what I want. You feel me? And I ain't trying to get too explicit. I want sex. That's what I want. I don't want all the extra. You ain't got to buy me no shoes. You ain't got to do that. I work. I clean. I do everything you want me to do. Just give me this. That's what I want. You feel me? And I feel like it's, you know, like you're saying, he want that's that. He don't want just that. No, I told you like, what I want.
He's saying that because he doesn't think I can really get him what he really wants.
Exactly. And it's not even all that. Y'all go deeper than we go.
Yes.
And I feel like with women, y'all want us to just know what y'all want. And that's where men be like, bro,
because for us as women, that's what I was talking about with that emotional, letting us more emotionally. We just be like, this is not hard. Yeah. We really just, a lot of women, I talk to my best friend about this all the time, and I tell her, I'm like, honey, you have to express to him exactly what it is you want. Talking around in circles about what you really want is not going to get you there. Telling him, I feel like, she'll say something like, and I just told him, like, I want to see him more often. But it's like, but that's really not what you want. Really what you want is commitment. You want him to be here every day. You want to move in with the man because you love him so much.
Right. And I think that's the issue. Like, I think that so like you were saying, the lack of the decision to take what we're saying for face value, for one. But then also creating your own reality in your head and expecting for someone outside of your head to fit into that reality.
Exactly.
It's impossible. And it's really impossible. And I think but I've heard women, and AK said this last week, she said that she gonna do that till the day she dies. Where it's just like, I'm going to have what I want in my head, or women, or whomever. The notion that I'm gonna have what I want in my head, but I'm not going to explain it to you. I'm gonna expect you to know. And it's just very it's just a hard thing to. It's a hard puzzle to fit into. It's a hard puzzle to fit into.
So I guess my question would be, after what he said and what you said, is it a fear of rejection?
I think for a lot of women it is.
I feel like women aren't used to being rejected.
We're not.
So when it's something that men don't want, they don't want to hear it.
What you mean?
So I guess like, instead of it being okay, I feel like sometimes y'all do things on y'all time because you don't want to be rejected from asking of something. If you get what I'm saying, like if it's like, okay, I might want this from you. You expect him to just know you want it because you know if you ask it, you might get a no.
Yeah. I don't know. I can't really relate to that.
Period. I get where you're going, Chris.
That's why I said no. It's a question. That's why.
No. I do feel like I get that. Like, let's say for girls who date men, and they just date them, don't get a relationship. and it's just like you really want to be his girlfriend, but you're afraid to bring that conversation up because you don't want to hear him say, I ain't ready, or I ain't trying to do all of that. Right. So you just going with the flow, but you're expecting him to understand you want to commit.
So I'm just going to tell you honestly, what I'm getting is y'all create your own universe.
We do.
And then in any instant that we're not living in the universe that you've created in your head, then there's a problem.
Yeah.
That's unfair.
And that is unfair, and I feel like that is why I'm learning, and I'm trying to help my friends and people who around me to understand that too. Like, we can't just expect people to understand what we want. There's a lot of things that we have to unlearn about relationships too that are just unfair and unhealthy. But men,
but hold on. That's what I was about to say. I'm about to say also as men, we do have to understand just because you want something and you tell your girl you want something, she is not obligated to give it to you. Married, girlfriend, whatever.
I think it's more so deep. I think it's deeper on the fact of the emotional thing. Like, that is the one piece where I feel like it's just a disconnect all across the board.
Well, that's because women, you tend to have more love languages than men do.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily that that's a problem, but I just...
Oh no,
men
it is.
Have to.
It is.
Find that balance. Y'all have to find that balance.
Let me tell you why it is though, because
y'all be in La La Land too, like.
But let me tell you why it is a tad bit of a problem. Because just in my situation, I've dated girls and even my wife now that have multiple, if not all, love languages. Yeah. Where men are more like, I want one or two. Like, you know what I'm saying? Communicate with give me words of affirmation, give me physical love.
Right.
Because as men, we have to go get it.
But the thing is that men don't know how to do the other ones. You know what I'm saying? So, like, it's like, I feel like sometimes, like, let's say, for example, that's a guy, those are his two, right? But then he doesn't know how to provide any of the other love languages.
It's not his job. It's not his job.
It is.
Hold on, let me tell you why it's not. It's not his job to just provide those. If you don't teach him your love language,
that's true.
You can say, "Oh, this is my love language." Okay, cool.
Yeah.
But how to do it?
Yeah.
How does it look like? You can't just expect me to just know.
Because words of affirmation. Well, maybe not words of affirmation, but like even physical touch. Physical touch for one person, it literally could be different.
Exactly.
For some people, that's kissing. But then for other people, it's literally, it could just be holding hands or like laying on their shoulder or hugs, and the other person might not want to be hugged, but they might love to kiss. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like that I agree with what you're saying with that.
I think what people have to understand, because I'm a serial monogamous, so I'm a serial dater. I'm not a person who stays single for long. That's just never been my MO, because I love relationships. I know I love the thought of them. I love the learning experiences, even when they don't work out. I've learned to love them now that they don't work out. You feel me? I say that. Because in the moment, it'd be a whole different world. But, you know what I'm saying? I think, what was I getting at? I think that understanding that you can't always get what you want, and you can't always give what somebody else wants is a big thing about relationship. I feel like sometimes, I'm going to start with the men first. We expect, because we're doing... I saw a guy talking the other day. He was like, y'all come from a generation of when you do what you're supposed to do, you get a cookie.
Yeah.
You just did what you're supposed to do.
Right.
So I feel like sometimes with men, we feel like, oh, I did what I was supposed to do. I should get sex. I should come home to the men. Excuse me, it's not the wrong. You should get what you want. You should get, you know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, bro, hey, she's still a person too. So just because you went to work, just because you came home and paid the bills and brought her flowers, don't mean she's obligated to have a meal waiting for you. And then at the same time, and with women, it's not, okay, I cleaned the house, or even if you a working woman, or if you take care of the kids, whatever your situation is as a woman, you know what I'm saying? Because y'all are obligated to do whatever y'all want. Let's get that out the way. Y'all can do whatever y'all want and live however y'all want to live.
Agreed.
But if you choosing to share a life with a man, woman, whoever you sharing a life with, you you can't expect people to just know what's going on in your head.
Yeah.
I ain't met a Dr. Xavier yet, nigga. I ain't lived the X-Men movie yet. I ain't met a man who just know what's going on in your head. I don't just know what's going on in Shayla's head. Right. So if I don't just know what's going on in his head, what make you think I know what's just going on in your head? You know what I'm saying? And I feel like sometimes men need to do better at just understanding, hey, bro, just because you doing what's supposed to do, you're not going to get a cookie. Yeah. And women need to understand that, hey, just because you got a world in your head doesn't mean he's going to live up to it every day. It's hard. Because there's other things that people have to do. And that go both sides. Both sides got to work on things. Stop expecting things of people. That tied into everything. Yeah. Be introspective. You got to understand, by knowing yourself, you got to also know that, okay, I'm me and I live this way and I think this way. That person might not think and live the same way. So they might not always be able to meet my needs or my wants. And when they don't, it's okay. But if it's a constant thing, okay, you're just not for me. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's the balance that I was trying to get at.
Yeah. No, I think that's great. I think that's great. And I think that I mean, that's the value that you add to just our experiences and this conversation. It's just you care about relationships. I care about relationships, and you care about
both sides. I feel like everybody should be loved in the right way.
Yeah, and you care about loving people better, and I think that's important. And I think it's healthy. It's needed. And these are conversations that we need to be having and that we need to be continuing wherever you all are and whoever that you're in a relationship with. I think that understanding how to love yourself better and how to love the person that you want to be with better is important. And just understand, like, if more people understood that all relationships are transactional, like you're going to get something, you're going to get something. All relationships are transactional. So with that being said, you need to understand you're going to have to give something to get something. So just set your boundaries and understand what you want. And we're going to continue to tell you that, because in order to get what you want, you have to know what you want. And you have to know who you are, because you have to understand where you fit into the equation of getting what you want. It's an equation. It's not just you show up and you get it. It's not going to work like that. And the reason why I say it's an equation is because work has to be done before you get to the result. And that's an equation. Work has to be done before you get to the result. And that's the equation. So at the end of the day, we are here to help support you as you figure out your equation and figure out where you fit into your equation with your relationships, with your communities, to help us all build healthier communities together and really enrich our own lives and the lives of the people that we touch. So thanks for joining us for this second episode of this season. I enjoyed you all too.
Thank you.
You know how we get. So at the end of the day, we're gonna keep having these conversations. We're gonna keep these conversations going. AK will be with us next week, so maybe we'll have the full four.
The fantastic four.
We'll let y'all know. Just stay tuned. Keep rocking with us. Make sure that you check us out on Rich Mac Digital and that you follow us on all of our platforms. And tap in with Rich Talk Podcast. All right.
That was a good combo.
Yeah, always.
Thank you for listening to Rich Talk. Make sure you subscribe to our website at richmagdigital.com and follow us on all platforms.